taken, what, 10 games for Antonio Conte to moan, as he has done so many times in the past, about the lack of depth in his squad. Wherever he's been, it's pretty much a layup that this will happen. I can't ask for much more from these lads because it's our third game in 6 days and we practically always have the same 11 due to various problems. I'm not happy with this at all. It becomes difficult to go out there and play every 3 days with the squad down to the bare bones. Now we've got Brescia coming up in 3 days, in which we again need the same players to start for the 4th game running. It is exhausting on both a mental and physical level. It's only right that with the club we evaluate where we can improve. Serie A and the Champions League are tournaments that take a lot out of you. Inter are an important club and we cannot afford to simply participate in these competitions.
This reminds me of a moment after when he was in charge of Juve and he was asked why they didn't do that well in the Champions League. And he said, we cannot go into a €100 restaurant with a €10 note. Allegri took over and basically bought out the entire restaurant. He obviously took Juventus twice to the Champions League final. So there was then murmurs that Juve maybe underachieved in Europe with Conte. This Inter side, I would have loved to know what Conte would have done in the previous iterations of Inter in the last decade, because this is the best Inter that we've seen in a long time. They've been spending money wisely, buying young, talented Italian midfielders like Sensi and Barella, Lukaku, think what you want of him, but still that was an important purchase as the after Icardi. They've spent a lot this summer, and it is a club that I don't think is just participating in the Champions League now. This is a slow rebuilding process that started last year, I'd say, with Conte coming in. And the fact that they are actually in the Champions League and they should get out of the group stage and make a little bit of noise, no one's going to tip them to be favorites to win the thing or even really compete with the top echelon tiers. But I think they're just that one step away. The building blocks are there. I don't really understand this from Conte.
Gab, this is pretty tiresome, isn't it?
Yeah, and look, he knew this ahead of time. And not only did Inter bend over backwards for him, remember, they also took on a big chunk of Alexis Sanchez's wages. They also got rid of Nainggolan, Perisic, and Icardi. And by the way, got nothing in return for these 3 guys, simply because he didn't want to have these guys around. They've bent over backwards for him within the limits of what they can do, not because they don't have a rich owner, because they do, but because of, there's that word again, financial fair play. They don't want to get in trouble with FFP all over again. So to go out there and moan, you know what? You're playing Brescia next week, and he brings up Brescia as if all of a sudden, Brescia have like 30 Ballon d'Or nominees. How about you work with the guys you have? How about you play the kids? When he talks about the strikers and he treats Esposito as if he's some like vagrant he brought in off the street, and he's like, oh my God, I have to play Esposito. How about you do what they do in normal countries with normal coaches, and they say, hey, look, here's a really exciting young player. I'm glad he can give us minutes. Maybe he can be an option. I don't understand why he has to go back to this ancient script, which didn't work for him in the past and isn't going to work for him here either.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.